And at the same time, I am going to put everyone on mute. But if throughout the session, if you have any doubt or anything like that, just feel free to unmute yourself and ask any questions or doubts. So
Okay,
just give me a second.
great.
Okay. So for some reason, I seem to have lost the mute all button.
Okay. Mike,
I
is
have hard.
Gary, is there anyone from Swansea joining us? Oh, you're on mute.
Yeah, they're trying to log in now.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna mute everyone now. Okay, so I'm gonna start sharing my screen with you all. And just give me a second. Share screen. Sharing screen now. Okay, perfect. So I'm sharing my screen now, so I would not be able to see anyone on camera. So like I said, if you guys have any questions or anything during the session, just unmute yourself and go for it. Okay. I am hoping that you guys can see my screen. Okay. And I am gonna bring out the presentation for you. Yeah. So if you guys can see the presentation, any thumbs up would be nice if that's okay. So that I know it's there. Yeah.
Yes,
Perfect.
we. Oh,
Thank you,
hang
Mike.
on. We were able to see it, but now we just see your
Yeah,
screen. Yeah, there we go.
perfect. Yes, so today's session, like the name says, is pretty much very basic. It's going to be very basic. It's just to familiarize yourself with the system. It's going to be short session. It's not nothing extensive. You if you want, you can make a few notes. If you want, I will forward all these slides to you guys as well. And at the same time, you guys do have the recording. So like I said, it is just to help you navigate around the system so that once you start getting onto the system, once you start using it, you don't feel like an alien using it. So let's get up. So first of all, my name is Krishna. Sorry, I forgot to introduce myself to everybody around. So I have someone in the lobby. Are they in? Yeah, I think somebody said that they've been perfect. Sorry. So for someone who's just okay. Yep, perfect. Okay, so yeah, so I hope everyone's in now, and so we haven't started yet. So like I said, my name is Krishna, and I am one of the priority consultant here at Metatech, and I'm going to be taking your session for today. So like I just said, today's very basic session is just to help you navigate around the system. And these are the few things that we will be covering for the today's session, like entering the system, telling you a bit about the homepage, telling you to how different ways you can get help in the system if you're stuck anywhere, if you don't know what to do, trying to just familiarize yourself with the forms, how to do some queries in the forms, what reports are, some keys and functions, and form designs to help you, make a better experience get yourself a better experience out of priority. Okay, so let's me show you how the priority looks now. Let me get the system on for you guys. Okay, so this, as you see here, I'm currently on the system of Precision Peripheral itself. This is exactly what you'll see the first thing when you log on to with this link. And as soon as you open this up, this is what you will see. This is the login screen itself. All of you will have your own usernames, or you will be sharing a username. I don't know about that exactly. So you'll be given a username and password to begin with once you start using the system. And this is where you enter your username and password. So once you've entered that, you just click on OK. And this is what the home screen looks like as soon as you log in. So first things first, I'm going to start with over here on the right hand side of the screen to show you with. So on the top, as you can see, this is what tells you what your username is. So right now my username is Tabula. So I can see my username here since I'm logged in as Tabula. So it's showing me Tabula. Whichever username you will be logged in as, it will show you your username as well here. Okay, just below the username, if you can see, there is something written as international demo. So this is where exactly the company name would come in. So since I'm logged in a company which is called as international demo, it's showing international demo here. If I was in another company, it would show the company's name right here. So if I click on the company name here, you can see it gives me a list of, it gives me a program which says select company. And if I click on the drop down here, I can see all the companies that are there in the system. So if you can see, there are three companies right now in the system. One is International Demo, one is Base Company, and one is PPL Live. So let me start with the Base Company. So Base Company is a company where all the basic data of the company is securely stored. So in a sense, you are never supposed to touch the base company because the base company is literally left as a backup. So if in case anything happens to the live company, which is PPL Live, if anything happens to the data of the live company, so you'll always have backup data to go to, which is where the base company comes in. So you're never, ever, ever supposed to touch the base company. You're not supposed to do anything in the base company ever. As the name suggests, PPL Live is obviously the main company which are you going to be working in. Your day-to-day transactions, everything will be done in PPL Live. And International Demo is the company where you can use to practice anything. So if you want to, practice yourself with the system, you want to familiarize yourself after session, so you will do all of that in the International Demo. If you need to play around with the system, like I said, it'll be done in International Demo. So let me just try and changing the company and see what happens in there. So if I go to PPL Live and I click on OK, so you can see it has changed to PPL Live now. And we have made the color red, so it's a bit noticeable, so it stands out, so you know that you're in the live company itself. So I'm going to go back to the international demo for this session. So for this session, I'm just going to be using international demo because I would want to show you guys examples, and obviously I don't want to put in any transaction in the live company itself. So I'll be using international demo for this session itself. Perfect. So we're back into the international demo here. So as soon as you are probably set up with the system, you will be, like I said, you will be given your usernames and passwords. So to begin with, your username and password would be the same. So your username and passwords, once they're set up, they are by default the same. So if you need to change your password, you can just go in here and change your password. But you always remember the main system user or the main super user will be able to assign your password if you forget it. So don't worry about that. Okay, so like I said, this is where you will be able to see your username itself. This is where the company logo comes in, so you exactly know which company you're in, and anytime wherever you are in the system. And similarly, if for some reason it's 5 p.m. and you know if you had a long day and if you don't remember who you are, you can click on who am I, and it tells you exactly who you are. Okay, so let's shift to the top section. So I'm going to start with the top here itself. So as you can see, since I logged in, there are a few, uh, how do I say, as tiles here at the home screen. So once you get your username, once you logged into the system, your home screen might look a bit different. You might have a few more tiles here, or you might not have anything at all. Because in Priority, everything is customizable. So you can have your home screen customized to yourself at however you want. You can have different tiles here, and I'll show you how to add those tiles as well here. So don't worry about that. So as you can see, this is all our different menus here, and every menu has individual naming to itself. So for example, as you can see the sales here, so if I click on the sales menu here, it's going to open up different menus for me inside the sales. So as you can see, I have orders, price quotations, price discounts, different things regarding sales here itself. Similarly, if I click on purchasing, it's going to show me things that are related to more purchasing. So like vendor orders, purchasing planning. So if I go into orders, as you can see, it takes me on to further more menus, and then I can go on more furthers in wherever I want with this. So if I roll back my presentation for you guys in here. So if you notice here, you can see there are different alphabets which are given to these. So as you can see, there's an M, there's an F, you can see an P, you can see an R. There are different types of these. So let me show you what all those are. So an M, if you see an M written everywhere, that means that's a menu. So if you click on anything which has an M on it, it takes you onto a different sub menu, or it shows you different options that you can go to. Similarly, if you click on something as an F, which is called as a form, so if you click on a F, it leads you to a form itself. An R stands for a report. So if you need to run any report, you will click on anything which is an R. Similarly, a P stands for a program. So if you click on a P, it runs a program for you in the background. And I'll show you a bit about that as well. Similarly, if it's a D, which means a document or a printout. So if you run or if you click on something which has a D written on it, it's going to create a document or a printout for you. So let me show you. So as you can already see, something with an M opens more menu for me. Something with an F, like I said, opens a form for me. So if I click on here with an F, so it opens up the sales order form for me here. I'm just gonna close this right now. So this is a sales order form here. Similarly, if I click on something which has P written on it, which was a program, it will run a program for me. So as you can see, this is a program for close order items. So if I run this program, it will help me use this program to close several orders. So like I said, it runs a program for me in the background to close more programs, to close, sorry, sales orders. Um, Similarly, an R is a report. So if I run this report, it's going to check invoices for any blanket orders, or if you want to see something relevant, product bundles, there are like different kinds of reports in here as well. So as you can see, if I run this report, it's going to compare all the authorized sales order for me in the system right now. So I think you get the idea of exactly where I'm trying to go with this. So if we come back to the main screen here, so as you can see, if I'm in any form or anywhere, so let's see if I'm in a sales order form, if I click on the top left here logo on the priority, it takes me back to the home screen. So no matter wherever you are in, if you are in any form or anywhere in the system, if you want to come back to your home screen, you can just simply click on the logo here and it takes you back to the screen here itself. Okay, so now we know about the different menus in the system, how you can access them by clicking on them however you want. We know about the priority logo. If you ever in the anywhere, you can always click here and come back to the home screen here itself. Now let me show you how you can customize your home screen, how you can add stuff to your home screen. So as you can see right now, I have already a custom tile here, which is, as you can see, it's called the service call. So if I click on this tile here, it automatically opens up the service call form for me. If I click on the exit form here, it just takes me back to the home screen itself. So let's say you want to customize your home screen or you want to add stuff to your home screen. How do you do that? So I'm going to go back into my different menus here, and let's say I'm in the sales department, and every time I'm the one who's responsible for creating sales order. So I want the sales order form to be on the home screen, so that I don't have to every time go into these different forms and then go on to sales order. So what I'm going to do here is, as you guys can see the sales order form here, as you see these three little dots here, so I'm going to click on the dots here. And as you can see, there is something called as add to home page. So if I click on add to home page here, you can see it automatically has added sales order form as a button on the home screen here itself. So if I click on the sales order here, it takes me to the sales order form now. So it's as simple as that. You can have as many favorites or as many tiles on the home screen, as much as you want. That's not a problem. And at the same time, you can delete them as well. So if I go back to any tile, you can see again these three dots here. If I click on this, I can click on delete and it just takes away that from me. So it's pretty simple. Similarly, how you can do that by clicking on these three dots here, you can also add tiles to your home page by clicking on this plus button right here. So if I click on the plus button here, you can see it again open up a form for me, not a form, but a search query. I can search for forms in here. So I can search for sales order in here. Yeah, so you can see the sales order. If I click on add, again, it does the same thing for me. So you can either way, if you want, you can directly go on in there, or if you want, you can use the plus button right here and then search for whatever you want and then add it to the home screen. So you can use it either way. So I'm going to close this for now. And as you can see, right on the top of the tile, there is something blacked out and says as 5 or 17 on the sales order. That basically means as you have a pending task for that. So in priority, you can, assign tasks to different people. So if a task has been assigned to you, so you'll be able to see it on the tile. So as you can see right now, I have 5 tasks assigned to me already in a service call. So if I just click on this here on the 5 at the top right, it shows me all the tasks on my to-do list. So I can see, I have been appointed some service calls that I need to take care of, or, change status or whatever I need to do with them. So I need to be taken care of. So if there's any number at the top right, that means you have a pending task that you need to take care of. Okay, so similarly, how you can add tiles to your home screen, you can add something what we call as a portlet here as well. So let me show you what a portlet is. So right, the next button here is called as add to portlet. So as you can see, add portlet to home page. So if I click on this, you can see it gives me different options that I can add to here. So let me select something. So let's say if I select open purchase orders, or let me go with open sales orders first. So if I go on open sales orders and click on add, let me see if, so it's going to take a few minutes. Yes. So as you can see by a portlet, what a portlet means is that it gives you, a peek into your sales order. So open sales order. So what it's doing right now is it's uh, dividing or segregating my sales order, which are open right now based on different statuses here. So it's telling me, these are the sales order that are open right now and are confirmed status. These are the sales order which is on draft status. These are on paid, and these are in progress. At the same time, it's also telling me the monetary value of the sales order as well. I can see this much of confirmed sales order open of this much value. Similarly for draft, paid, and in progress as well. Obviously, you can change how you can see this open sales order data by different stuff. If you want, you can see them by customers as well. So if I click on this, it's showing me how with different customers. So I can see with this customer, I have open sales orders with the value of this. Similarly, with the customer as PCI Computer Services, I have open sales orders of 35.98K. So, you can have it for how many, whichever value or you want. You can have it by due date, by branch, by family, by customer group as well. So, it just gives you a peek into your sales order. So maybe you can have this in your home screen. So as soon as you log in, so you can have a quick look at, what is there, and you can make use of this information. Similarly, with the with the homepage tiles, you can also delete anytime you want from it here. So if I click on delete, it just takes away. Right. So just like open sales order, we have different portlets here. You have open purchase order, you have profit and loss, purchase invoices. You can select any you want, and you can have as many as you want on your home screen, like I said. Okay. So just like adding, any of your forms to your homepage as a tile. Similarly, there is something that what we call as a favorite menu. So just right beside the priority logo, you can see something as marked as a star, which is your favorite menu. So if I click on this, you can see this shows up my favorite menu. So obviously, since I don't have anything in this favorite menu right here, right now, so it's empty for me. So let's start adding stuff to this favorite menu. Let's see how I can add stuff to this favorite menu. So similarly, I'm again going to go back into sales. I'm going to go back into orders. And let's say I want to add my sales order form again to the favorite menu. So I'm again going to click on these three buttons. And earlier we did add to homepage. Now we're going to add to favorites. So if I click on add to favorites, done, I click on OK. So now if I go on back in here, you can see it has already added the sales order form for me in my favorites menu. Again, you can have as many forms in your favorite menu as you want. So let's say I need to look at my when purchase orders as well. So if I want my purchase order in the favorites menu, again, I'm going to go back in here. I'm going to click on add to favorites, going to click on OK. And let me see. So it's already there now. So I have sales order and purchase orders both in my favorites menu. So you might be wondering, what's the benefit of having the favorites menu? I already, when you can already add stuff to the home screen like a tile. So the main benefit of having stuff in your favorite menu is, in order to use these tiles, you need to be on the home screen. So let's say if I am in my purchase order forms and, I need to open sales order now. So I would have to go back to home screen, then open the sales order form. Whereas if I have stuff in my favorite menu, and let's say I'm on a form already, I can just directly go on to here. If I want to open a sales order, I'll just click on a sales order and it automatically opens it for me. So yeah, like I said, it's just a convenience thing, it just saves you a click or two. It just makes it quicker for you, more efficient for you. So you can use either. So if you want, if it doesn't matter, you can just directly go back to home screen and use your tile buttons, or you can directly use stuff from your favorite menu as well. Okay, so similar to that, we also have something right here, if you see, which is called as active screens. So if I click on here, right here, it shows all the active screens that I have in the system right now. So uh, active screens basically means the screens that you have recently opened and have not closed yet. So as you can see, since I was jumping between sales orders and purchase orders, so it's showing me all the active screens right now. And you might be wondering, why can't it just say sales orders once, or why doesn't it say purchase order once? Why are there multiple sales order active screens and purchase orders active screen? That's because in priority, when you come out of a form without exiting it, or when you jump between forms, it saves that for you. So let me just close all of these for you. So let me show you a nice example. Let me go back into my sales order form here. Let's just so So this is my sales order form here, and I'm randomly gonna type in something. I'm gonna select a customer here, and I'm just gonna leave it right here, and I'm gonna, just jump to a different form from here. I'm gonna go to my purchase order form now. And I'm again gonna get some information typed in here, and now I'm gonna jump to my part setup form again. Oh, sorry, this was not a form. So it was a program with a P. So I'm going to go into my part catalog now, and now I'm going to go back out to priority. So as you can see now, it shows 3 active screens. So if I click on it, it shows me the screens that I had open. So as you know, I clicked on sales order, then I went to the purchase order form, and then I went into the part catalog form, right? So if I click on the sales order screen right here, as you can see, it saves that information from me. So my information is all there, it hasn't disappeared or anything. It's all there. So And instead of opening the sales order from here, let's say if I open the sales order from here, and I again go back from here. So as you can see, it has saved that instance of sales order differently. So if I click on this sales order, it shows me the information that I have on that active screen of sales order. Similarly, if I click on the different sales order, it shows me the one that was empty at the moment. So you see the difference, right? So in order to close your active screens, instead of jumping between forms or clicking on the logo, you want to make sure to exit a form. So if I click on exit form, it will close that for me. So right now the number is 4. Let's see if I exit a form. So you can see it's reduced to now 3, because instead of jumping to a form or going out somewhere, I've exited from a form. Similarly, instead of using the exit form button, you can also just press escape. So if I press escape, it's going to exit the form again. So you can use either the cross button or you can use the escape button. Similarly, in the active screens, you can also close your active screens by clicking on close all here. So if I click on close all, it closes all the active screens and that I had at the moment. Okay, so the other thing with active screens is that you might want to be careful of using this when you're jumping between companies. To show you an example, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put this back in here. So as let's say I'm going to open a form, sales order form in international demo. And from international demo, I'm going to go into PPL Live now. Okay. And in PPL Live, I am going to open the purchase orders. Okay. So the other thing is that so instead of seeing the company on the top right, if you are in a form, it also conveniently shows you the company on the bottom left as well. So you can see at the bottom left, I'm in PPL Live now, which is so the information on the bottom left is specifically for this form. So as you can see, it's telling me, that in this form I'm on PPL Live and showing me 0 and 1 results. That because I don't have any results at the moment, and it's also showing me the field that I'm right now. So right now I'm on the vendor number field, so it's also showing me that I'm on this field right now. Okay, so like you saw how I opened the sales order form in my international demo, and now how when I'm into PPL Live I open the purchase order form, right? So let's say now I want to go back to the sales order form, but I want to open the sales order in PPL Live, right? So instead of opening it from here, you know I forgot and I opened it from my active screen in the sales order. So as you can see on the top right, I'm still in PPL Live. However, on the bottom left, if you see, it says international demo. That's because if you remember, the sales order form was opened in international demo. So this was an active screen of international demo and not of PPL Live. So that's why it's open with the sales order form of international demo instead of PPL Live for me. So that's why, whenever you are changing company, so you want to make sure that before you are exiting a company to make sure to close all your active screens. So, that there isn't any confusion because it can happen easily, that you are in PPL Live, you're entering data into a form, but you realize that, that the form, the data that you have entered into a form was from a different company. So you want to make sure to close all your active screens before you switch any companies. So I'm going to go back onto the international demo now. So I hope everybody's following along. I hope I'm not going too fast. And like I said, if you have any doubts, you can always just unmute yourself and ask. So, yeah. Okay. So we are back in international demo. And so now you know about how your active screens work. So similar to active screens, if you see on the right, you have something called a recent items. So a recent items, as you can see, I opened the purchase order form, I opened the sales order form, part catalog, and all the different stuff that I've been to during this session. You can see it's all listed here. But unlike an active screen, like I said, if you click on an active screen, it takes you to the saved instance of that form. Whereas if you click on something from a recent item, it opens up a new instance of it. So if I click on sales order from recent items here, it opens up a new sales order form from me instead of the one, that you were on earlier if you would have used the active screen. So you can use either, so you would mainly use the recent items if you want to open a new sales order form. However, you would use the active screen more where if you just want to go back to your earlier from where you were already keying in information. Okay, so now you know about your recent items here as well. Similarly, just below your recent items, you have something called as latest updates. So in the latest updates, it shows you, you know, uh, stuff that's been entered into the system very recently, or if there is any changes that's been made to anything in the system. So as you can see, Recently, a sales order was created by this sales order number and by this customer number. Maybe a purchase orders was also created for PayPro's sound system with this. So it gives you a bit of, peek into the system of what was recently added to it. So you can directly jump to a new sales order here. Maybe you just want to have a look at the sales order which was recently created for a customer. So you can just have a look in latest updates and just jump on it. So if I click on, a sales order for this here, so it's gonna directly take me to a sales order for that customer, and you can see it's the exact same sales order number as well. So you can use this as well. If I click on exit, so I'm back out here. So something which I think you would have already noticed, the fact with how, there are so many different forms, menus inside one another. There is a menu inside orders, then there are menu in here where I can use, there are menu inside this. As you can see, but sometimes it can just keep on going on and on. So you might be wondering, it's very, very easy to get lost in the system. So that's why we have something which we call as an entity search here. So on the top left, if you see the search button here, which is called as the entity search. So we'd use this entity search anytime you would want to search for anything in the system. So let's say I want to get the order confirmation document here, and for some reason, I don't remember how to get to the order confirmation document. So the best and the easy way for me to get to it is if to use the entity search. So if I click on entity search here, I can search for it right here, order confirmation. And if I click on search, see, it's all showing me the order confirmation here, which I needed, the document order confirmation. So you can use this entity search whenever you feel that you have forgotten where exactly a menu, form, or document, whichever was, so you can always use this entity search button. Similarly, as you can see, there are a few options here as well. If you click on run, it's gonna run the document or the form or whatever you have searched for. Similarly, if I click on more here, I'm sorry, so I'm gonna move this away a bit. Yeah, so if I click on more here, you can see it gives me different options here. So if I click on copy, it's just gonna copy the name order confirmation for me. Whereas if I click on copy link, so it's gonna copy a hyperlink for me, which I can paste anywhere I want. Similarly, if you want, you can click on path. So if I click on path, so it shows me how to get to the order confirmation document. It's telling me to go into sales, go into orders, go into sales order reports, and then I'll be able to see the order confirmations here. So that's also very handy, for next time, maybe you always don't want to search, maybe you want to know the path to exactly how to get to it. So you can click on path and you can see exactly how you can get to the order confirmation document. Similarly, maybe you want to send this path to someone, or maybe you just want to save it. So you can click on copy path. So if you click on copy path, it copies the path for you. So let me just copy it somewhere. So if I do a copy, so as you can see, it's copied the whole path for me, how I can get to this form. So it's showing go into sales, go into order, sales order reports, order confirmation, and how you can get to it. Right, so I'm again gonna go back in here. So the other thing you would have noticed is something as ignore case, which I think is pretty straightforward, which is, so if I don't click on this here, it's gonna make the search case sensitive. So let's see the difference between having this ticked and having this unticked. So remember how I was searching for order confirmation, right? Or let me show you a better example. So as you can see, there's this form here is called a sales orders form, right? So I'm going to untick this here for you, and I'm going to search for sales order. I'm going to click on search. Yes. So since I made everything capitalized, so it didn't make a difference. So let me see what happens if I do this. So I'm going to use small letters now. And let me see if anything happens now. So you can see it's showing no results. Whereas what literally the only thing that I've done is I've changed the capitalization from a bigger S to a smaller S, so it's not showing up now. So, it's something that you might want to have ticked most of the times because it makes search easier. So if I click on ignore case and I click on search now, you can see it's showed up as search result for me. So you might want to just always have this ticked. So just make sure that if nothing pops up in the search entity bar, that you have searched with this as flagged. Yeah, so the rest same. You can directly add stuff from here to your home page, or you can directly add stuff to the favorites menu from here as well directly. And like I said, if I click on run, it just opens the sales order form for me directly from here. Close this as well for now. And I think you can already see this big search bar here as well. So like I said, this is the search bar for your priority system, So this is like more of Google search, whereas this is just entity search. So with this search button, you can only search for menus, reports, different stuff that's all labeled here. Whereas, like I said, this is more of Google search. So with this, I can search for sales orders, I can search for customers, I can search for anything. So let me give you an example. So let's say I'm searching for a sales order. So as you can see, as soon as I type in the word SO, it's already showing me sales or different sales order. So it's showing me a sales order for Brewer Bill, which is a customer. It's showing me the customer solutions as well because the name solutions has an SO in it. Similarly, you can see it's showing me all different sales order recent ones. Or if I want, I can click on this button here directly. Okay, so this didn't work out because there wasn't anything I didn't do that particularly. So if I want, I can directly click on a sales order here. It's going to open that sales order for me. So if I click on this right here, so it's going to open this sales order for me. So this, is more useful. Let's say if you have a customer on the phone or, you just quickly want to get to a sales order. So, instead of going directly into the sales order form or, anywhere else, you can just directly type in the sales order number in here. You can start typing and it's automatically you can just directly open it from here. So it saves you time and clicks. Like I said, these are like you would notice with today's session, it's just mostly about telling you stuff, how you can make best use of the system, how you can make it more, you can use it more efficiently to yourself. Okay, so yes, so you can literally search for anything here. Like I said, you can search for a customer as well. So if you want, I can search for this customer, Brewer Bill. So if I just click enter on Brewer Bill, it shows me everything related to that customer. So as you can see right now, I am on all. So it's showing me everything related to that customer. So if I just go into shipment invoices, it shows me shipment invoices just for that customer, Brewer Bill. Similarly, if I click on task, it shows me a task which is pending for that customer here, basically, which is a service call, which is still pending or which has been completed. So it's still in draft. But similarly, if I click on sales order, it's showing me both the sales order, which are here for the customer Brewer Bill. Similarly, if I go into contacts, I can see the contact for Brewer Bill here as well. So like I told you, this is exactly like a Google search. You can search for anything you want in here, customer, parts, literally anything you want. Anything that's stored in the system, you can search for it here. Okay, so I think I've covered most, or I think literally everything that was on the home page. So this is the home page of Priority for You. Does anybody have any questions regarding the home screen, or should I move forward to forms, explaining a bit about the forms? So if I don't hear anything, I presume it's all right. Yeah. So, okay. So now let's move into a form and let me tell you a bit more about the forms in Priority. So let's go into the sales order form. Okay, so this is the sales order form right here. And as you have seen, there are loads of different forms in priority, like it was telling to Jonathan, there can be like around 100, 500, or maybe around 1,000 in total forms in priority, not 1,000, let's say easily around 500 forms in priority. But the main thing to remember in priority is all of those forms are the same, they would have the same layout. They are linked in the exams in the exact same way. The only difference is that some forms might will have different fields to key in, but other than that, all of them would have the same layout. So a sales order form looks like this. Let me show you a purchase order form, how it looks like. As you can see, the purchase order forms also looks exactly the same, but with just different columns. That's it. So I'm going to go back to my sales order form by using the active screens here. Yes, so within a form, as you can see, it's like divided, between two sections. So the top section right here is called as the upper level. All of this is included in the upper level, whereas at the bottom, which is something called as the lower level. So an upper level form is always linked to a lower level form in priority. Before that, let me show you a bit within a form. So as you can see, there are different fields in the form. I can type into any field I want. I can type in a customer number in here. And if I click on this, it's going to give me a drop down of different customers. So I can select on any customer which is already stored into the system. So let's say if I click on Hofstein Raphael, it's going to give me all information related to Hofstein Raphael. Similarly, if you see, there are some fields which are marked with an asterisk, which means those are the mandatory fields. So till the time you don't fill in information in those fields, priority will not let you go ahead to the next step, or it would not let you shift to the next line, or even it would not let you move ahead without filling in the mandatory columns or fields here. Right. So as you can see here, these are different tabs in priority. So within price, you can see there are different call fields related to price. So if I click on references, I can see different references, different items related to references within the references tab. So I can reference a price quote in here. I can reference a sales rep here. I can reference a price list here. So similarly, if let's say if I go into payment info, I can see more information related to payment, how like payment terms, VAT code, months to bill. So different tabs would have different options or fields related to those. Similarly, payment info, shipment, you get the idea, I think. Um, Similarly, on the top here, you can see these are something what we call as action buttons. The reason they are called as action buttons, I think it's pretty straightforward, because if I click on these, it's gonna do an action for me. So if I click on order confirmation, it's gonna confirm the sales order for me. Or if I click on this action button here, it's gonna prepare a shipping document for me automatically. So if you click on here, you can see there are more action buttons in here as well. If I click on this, it's gonna open a purchase order for me. So let's see if I can do that. As you can see, when I clicked on the action button for purchase orders, it's opened up the purchase order form for me directly. I clicked on escape to go back to here. But let's say, if I am deep in here somewhere, so let's say if I was on the purchase order forms, as you can see up top here, priority always leads a bread trail for you. So it shows, that I was on the sales order form, and from the sales order form, I've jumped onto the purchase order form. So if I need to go back to sales order form, either I can directly click onto the sales order form from here directly, or if I click on escape, it automatically takes me back to the form which was open previously. So this only happens, when you open something within a form and not from outside a form. Okay, so we know about different action buttons, we know about tabs, we know about fields, and let's talk about the sub-level now. So like I said, An upper level and sub level in priority are always linked to each other. And the reason that I say that is because, let me show you. So beneath, as you can see, there are different headings to the sub level. So basically these are forms, this is an order item form, which is open here, open at the bottom here. So when, so like I said, the sales order up top here is linked to the order item form in here. So if I have a customer information typed in here and I go down here, so if I enter any part number in here, that means this part number is linked to this now. So as you can see, I didn't fill in a mandatory field, which was due date, and it would not let me leave that line now. So I click anywhere else, it's telling me, it's giving me a, an error message saying that due date is missing. So the reason obviously it's doing that because that is a mandatory field. So like I said, till the time you do not fill a mandatory field in, it's not going to let you go off that line itself. So I'm going to fill in a due date here now. I'm going to click up top here. So the other thing that I want to mention right here is how to save things in priority. So let's say I've entered, this part number on this part description right here, and now I want to make sure, that it's saved. So right now it's not saved. So in order for you to save this, you need to get off that line. So if I click on anywhere else in the screen, let's say if I click right here, so you can see at the top right, on the top, it's saying saving changes, and it shows all changes were saved now. That means this line is saved now. If I want, I can close the form also, and it's still gonna be there even after closing the form as well. So like I said, if you need to save anything in priority, you need to get off that line, and then only it's going to be saved. Okay, so like I said, this form is the sub levels are always linked to the upper level. So the part information that I'm entering in here, the unit price, cost, and everything, it's linked for this customer. So that means Hostin Raphael wants to order these parts from me. Similarly, when I'm on this sub level here for order items, you can see I have more sub levels to that as well. So similarly, if I want, I can go into sub level here as well. So let's see any sub levels. So I can want if I can go into inventory for part. So here it's showing me the inventory which I have for that part. So like I said, obviously the reason I'm able to see this is because this is also linked to this sub level right here. So this is a sub level of, this is a sub level now. I hope it's not getting confusing to everyone. So in order to, go into sub level of anything, you need to be on that line. So the reason that I'm able to see stock for this particular part is because I'm on this line, and when I am on this line, that is exactly when I clicked on inventory for part. Similarly, let's say if there was any other part, so this is a different part now. As you can see, this is a bit different. So if I click on this part, and then if I click on inventory for part, again, I forgot to fill in a mandatory field. So again, if I go on for inventory for parts, as you can see now, I'm able to see the inventory for that part. So depending on which line you are, it's going to show you the sub level will be linked for that line itself and not for the whole, order. So I think you get the idea of how a sub level or a sub level is always linked to each other in priority. So I'm going to go back up to the top now. So like this is the upper level. So I'm back onto the upper level now. Okay, so the other thing in priority, which is a very useful thing, is how you can change how you view a form. So right now I am in something which is called as a single record view. So the reason we call this a single record view is because I can only see one single record here, which is that I can only see, a sales order for Hofstein Raphael here. I cannot see any other sales order. So that's why it's called a single record view. Similarly, in priority, we also have something which is called as a multi-record view. So like the name suggests, with a multi-record view, I'm able to see multiple records in the system. So let's see how I can change the view in a form. So if you see here, this is something button at the top right, which is called as change view. So there are two ways you can do this. Either you can directly click on change view, or like it says, you can click on F4 and it will change the view for you. So let's see what it does. So as you can see, now it's changed the view to just having different columns. So all the fields that were there on the system have been turned into a column now. So let's scroll down and see different columns here. So as you can see, all those are now shown as a column here. There are way different columns. I can just go until the end. So you get the idea. And you can either use the scroll bar, or you can just use the buttons. So again, it's the same here. Similarly, if you're in a sub level, you can also change the view in a sub level as well. You can have a sub level as a single record or a multiple record. It's completely up to you. And so the best way to navigate in a multi-record view, so as you saw, there were two sales order items in my order item forms, but since I've changed it to a single record view, I can only see one order item. So in order to scroll down to the other order item, either you can just use your scroll button on the mouse, which you can see I've done that now. So as you can see, it's changing the part numbers. If you have a look, this is 002. If I scroll down, this is 001 now. So like I said, either you can use the scroll button on your mouse, or the scroll wheel, or you can also use the page down button on your keyboard. Or if not that, you can directly just use the scroll bar here and come down, or that's it. Or you can use the arrow keys located here as well. You can use them, like I said, whichever is more convenient to you. So I'm going to change this back to a multi-record view now. So like I said, either use change view or simply just click F4 and it takes you back to a multiple record view now. So if I want to go back to an upper level, I can just simply click on the upper level here, or if I click on escape, so it's going to take me back to the upper level now. Okay, so like I said, I was explaining to you about the main advantage of having a multiple record view. As the name suggests itself, the main advantage of it is to be able to see multiple records in the system. So let's say if I want, I can directly, create a new sales order in here. And, I can have multiple things in here. So let's see, maybe I'll show you guys this as well in a bit. So with a multiple record view, as you can see, I can see a lot of things at once. Maybe I want to see different statuses of sales order, in just one glance rather than, seeing one sales order at a time. This is more useful because, I can see all the sales orders, that are there in the system. I can see their statuses different. So this is obviously, more useful if you want to have a overlook of different stuff in the system. And obviously from here itself, you can directly change stuff. You can do anything you want. It's exactly the same as a single record view, but like I said, in the form of columns here. If you see at the bottom left, you can see it's showing me that I am on this number of results. So I'm on, out of the total 76 results that are there, I'm on number 3. If you change line, it's changes to 4. So this, like I said, this covers about multi-record view. And similarly, like I said, if I were to change the view now to multi-record, to single record, you can see if I scroll down, I can see the sales order here as well. They are changing one by one. So you can do that either way. So I'm going to go back to my multi-record view now. Okay, so the other thing in that I wanted to show you guys that we have in Priority, which is very useful feature, is what we call as the search mode in Priority. Sorry. So if you see on the top right here, right next to your change view button, we have something called as the switch to search mode button. So in order to use the search mode, you can either directly click onto this here, or you can, like it says here, you can use F11 as well. So let's see what happens if I click on this. So as soon as I click on this, you can see it has emptied the form for me, and it's highlighted the field that I'm on right now in a green light, which is to show you that you are in the search mode now, you know. So I can go anywhere, I can type in any search query or anything that I need to search for. So let's say I'm in the sales order form and I want to see all the sales order which are there in the sales order form, regardless of any query. I just want to see all the sales order. That's it. So in order to get all the results in the form, in order to get all the data that is stored into the form, you go into search mode and you just do an asterisk on any literally any field. So I do an asterisk and then I click on enter. So what that does is that shows me all the sales order that are there in the system. So I can see all the sales order that are there in the system, no matter what date, what status they are. An asterisk means that you just need to see all the information that is there stored within that form. Similarly, I can go back to the search mode now. So that's searching for everything in the into the system. Let's say maybe I want to search for something specific. You know, maybe I want to search for a particular customer. I just want to see sales order for a particular customer in the system. So how do you do that? So you go onto that field when you enter the search mode and you go onto that field. So if you can see, I go onto the drop down and I can see all the customers that are there. So let's say I want to see all the sales order that are there within the system for the customer Hofstein Raphael. So I'm just going to click on Hofstein Raphael and I'm going to click on enter. Perfect. So you can see it's showed up all the sales order that I have for the customer here. So as you can see, there are only 10 sales order in the system, starting from, let's see if I can get the date. So starting from 2007 till 2022, it's showing me all the sales order. I think one thing that I didn't mention is, so in international demo, this is all dummy data. So if the reason that you are wondering who is Hofstein Raphael or who is Son Su Young, it's because this is all just dummy data. This is just the data in the system for you guys to play around. Don't worry, you don't have a customer called as Hofstein Raphael at this moment. This is all just dummy data for you guys to play around with. Yeah, so as you can see, it's showing me all the different sales order that are there for Hofstein Raphael now. And like I said, you can make any changes here if you want. I can close the sales order directly from here. So, I can do a lot of stuff from here. Similarly, I can do a search, from a single record view as well. So if I change my view, you can see I still have those 10 results here and I can scroll from in between from here. You can see it's changing the sales order number from 4, 5, 7, 8 as I'm scrolling between them. So you can view the results in a, either a single record view or a multi-record view as well. Similarly, you can also search in the single record view as well. So again, I'm just going to do the same search, click on enter, and it's again shown me all the search for that. And I can switch back to it directly and get a multi-record view as well. Okay, so I'm going to go back onto my search mode now. So, you must have noticed this was, this kind of search was very much specific to, based on stuff that are new. Let's say, there's something, that I don't remember much. So let's say, maybe I was searching for Hofstein Raphael, but I don't remember his name. Hofstein Raphael for me is not a memorable name. I don't remember the name. So maybe I just remember that, it starts with an HO. So how do you find it then? So it's simple. So what you do is you type in HO. So you want to make sure this is case sensitive. So you want to have a capital H here because a customer name would presumably start with a capital H. So if I would have a small h here, it would not show up anything here. Since this is case sensitive, so you want to have a capital H to begin with. So let's say, I just remember his first two initials and I don't remember anything after that. So I'm going to use something what we call as a wild card here. So I'm going to put in an asterisk here, meaning that I know that the customer names begin with an HO, but I don't remember anything after that. So what it's going to do now, it's going to search for every customer that names begin with an HO, and that's it. So I click on enter here. It's again shows, it's going to show me that. See, so you can see that we have a customer which is called as Honeywell, whose name also begins with an HO. So like I said, it's just focusing on the HO, and it doesn't matter whatever is there after an HO, it's going to show everything here for you. So you can use this in different ways. Let's say, maybe using a customer name was a bad example. Maybe, there's a sales order. You just remember something, like you just remember last two digits of a sales order number. So you can use that to search as well. So let's say, maybe you want to search for this sales order and you just remember that it ends in an 08, but obviously you don't remember the whole sales order number now. So how do you do that? So I'm again going to go back onto my search mode here, switch to search mode. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the opposite way. So earlier, I just remembered the first initial characters, but since now I only remember the numbers in which the sales order ends, so I'm going to put an asterisk before I type anything, and then I'm going to put a 08 here. So that means obviously now it's going to search for everything that begins with any number, digit, or whatever, but it's going to show me result for everything in a sales order that's end with a 08. So I'm going to click on enter here. And as you can see, it's showing me all the sales order that ends with a 08 here. Yeah, so you get the idea of how, you can use this wildcard in different ways itself. And the other wildcard that we have is the question mark. So a question mark you usually use when, you know the number of characters that are there. So like with an asterisk, I didn't know how many characters were there in Hofstein, so I just knew HO and I put an asterisk and it just searches that for me. But whereas, maybe if I knew, you know, that, or maybe in a sales order, I know there are like 7 digits, but out of those seven, I only remember the last two. So I can have something as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I can have an O 08 at the end. So it's going to search that for me. Let me give you a better example of how, a question mark can be used. So let's say on a date. So on a date field, you always know that there are 2 digits for the day, two for your month, and two for your year. So maybe let's say I want to search for sales orders that were made in 2022, right? So what I can do now is I can put in two question marks. So one, two are for the days, which is any days. Two are for months, but obviously I know my year that I want to search for. So let's say 2022. So I'm going to type in 22. So what it's going to do now, it's going to show me all the sales order for 2022. So I click on enter. So as you can see, I can see all the sales order that were made in 2022 now, right? So like I said, question mark you would mostly use when you know the number of characters, or mostly we have seen customers, they mostly tend to use the question marks on date columns, like I said, because that is when you know exactly how many characters are there. So you might want to mostly use this for dates, but like I said, it's unless you can use it on any field you want, wherever you want. So I'm gonna go back to my search mode now again. So right now, as you can see, I'm just searching using only one query. Um, Sorry, I forgot to ask, is everybody all right? Is everybody catching up? Does anybody have any doubts? Or since nobody has spoken anything yet, I'm gonna assume that I'm teaching you guys very great and you guys are able to follow along. So I'm just gonna carry on. Yep. Okay, so as you would have noticed earlier, I was just using one search query. I was just searching via customer name, or I was just searching, using an date or maybe an order number. But in priority, the best thing is, instead of searching with just one query, you can search in multiple queries. So To show an example, let me just get all the orders for this customer. So right now you can see all the sales order for Hofstein Raphael here, but maybe I want to segregate all this. Maybe, I just want to see all the sales order from Hofstein Raphael, but only for 2008. I just want to see these three. So how do I do that? How do I drill down that search to it? So I'm going to go back again into my search mode. I'm going to select my customer from the drop down, which is Hofstein Raphael. I'm going to go back to my date column here, and I am going to enter the query, which was 2008, right? So as you can see now, I've entered two search queries in here. So I want to see all the sales order from this customer for 2008. Now I'm going to click on enter. So as you can see, it's now just showing me sales order for Austin Raphael in 2008. Similarly, you can literally add endless number of search queries in there. Let's say I just want to see sale sales order of Austin Raphael in 2008, which have a status of completed only. Again, we are gonna go back into the search mode. You're gonna select our customer. You're gonna go back to the date column, question mark, 08. You're gonna go back to our status here, go back to completed, click on enter. See, so it's just showing me that now because there was only one sales order from this customer in 2008 with the status of completed. So like I said, again, the possibilities are endless. You can literally use it in any way, form, however you want. You can literally use it. The other thing with this is that, it also helps you save sometimes a bit of time, instead of, having to look for a report, which you can run to get open sales order. You can just directly go in here and search for status. I can just directly go into my search mode here, go into the status and click on, in progress or draft. I can directly see all the sales order which are on the draft status right now. So, instead of having to find a report which can show me all the sales order which are open right now, I can just, do a search here itself, which is better. Uh, the other thing with search is you can add on to your searches. So let's say if I go back to my search mode here, and if I go on in here for Hofstede Raphael again, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I seem to have a bit of partiality with Hofstede Raphael. That's my favorite customer. So I'm going to be using him throughout our demo, throughout the training. So maybe instead of having to, just see the draft sales order for Hofstede Raphael, I also want to see the completed one. So I don't want to see the confirmed, but I just want to see draft and completed. So now you might be wondering, how do I do that? It only gives me the option to have one, here instead of having two in the same column, right? So how do I get a draft and a completed in the same column for search, right? So I'll show you how to do that as well. You can go back onto the search mode in here. You can again select the customer. We're going to go back to our status here. Going to click as draft. So now if you want to enter multiple searches in the same column, what I'm going to do is you're going to again click on F11. So if I click on F11 here again, you can see that has disappeared, but it hasn't disappeared that much. So I'm going to create another search here, but this time instead of draft, I'm going to create a search with confirm now. So I click on enter. So you see it's showing me results for both the searches. So you can stack multiple searches onto one search, and then you can view all the results in one search result. So that's also very useful. I hope everything is clear. This sometimes can get a bit confusing, or sometimes it can get a bit too much. So I hope everybody is able to follow along, and I hope I'm going at a nice pace. I'm not going too fast. Right. So yes, so the last thing with search that I wanted to show you guys is would have noticed something. So as soon as I click, so if I am, in a normal sales order form without the search mode, so if you see at the bottom, you can see, I'm on one result, right? However, as soon as I switch to search mode, you can see it automatically takes me down to the second line. I can't search anything here. So if you try and search for anything here, you would not be able to search for anything on the first line. You can only start searching or entering queries from the second line, not on the first line. You ask why? I'll tell you why as well. Because the first line is just reserved for putting in the constants or any other query that you want. So let's say I wanted to use a query on the date, instead of seeing sales order for 2022 or for a particular year. I just want to see all the sales order for a customer after 2010 or after 2015, whatever, whichever date you want. So you can put in the queries at the top line here. So if I go on to the top line, so you can see if if I'm in here or in here, it gives me the drop down. However, if I'm on the first line here, it gives me different constants that I can use to enhance my search. So let's use a constant here. So let's say I want to see for all sales order right now in the system that are made after 2015. So I'm going to go back down to my line. So the thing with using queries at the top is now I cannot use a wildcard in here. So I need to state exactly from a specific date, that I need to be able to see greater dates from. So I would have to give it a specific date. I'm going to say I want to see all the sales order from 2015. So I'm going to say 01/01/15. So what it's going to do is it's going to show me all the sales order made after 2015. And let's give my favorite customer here as well. Click on enter. So you see it's showing me all the sales order made after 2015. So the reason it's showing me only 22 because there isn't any sales order for Hosting Raphael after 2015. It's just all of them have been made in 2022. So let me show you. So go back to search mode here, go back onto Hosting Raphael, click on enter. So as you can see, they're jumping directly from 2008 to 2022. So that's why I could not see anything in between. So you get the idea, how you can use endless things to search for. You can do n number of stuff in here. You can use queries on any form, equals to, less than, not equal to, so you can do anything. You can literally have this on the amount as well. Maybe you just want to see sales orders or anything for an amount of like greater than 10,000 or anything, you can do that as well. So this is just to give you a few ideas of how you can use this. So uh so this is the how you can use the search. But let's say maybe there is a particular search that you always use. The first thing that you do in your system is you are always searching for that stuff, and you always don't want to be doing that search. You always don't want to go into search mode, select the customer, and then do that. What if you just want to have that as saved? Maybe I can save that search, right? So you can do that as well. You can save your searches as well. So if you can see here, there is something called as new search. So I can go in here and click on create new search. So as you can see, this is now going to help me create a new search which I can save. So let's say I want to search for based on the customer number. So if the customer number is equal to, or let me go to customer name itself. So if the customer number equals Hofstein Raphael, so I don't remember the name. So I think I'll be able to search using the customer number. Yeah. Or let's put it to contains. So if the customer number contains Hofstein or sorry, if you just want to give me 1 second, let me clear this out. Go back, exit. I just want to copy this for a second. Yes, so sorry. So create new search. I want to search for customer number. So if the customer number is equal to this, and you can enter different things in here, maybe, you know, or I want to see it based on the order status, and if the order status is completed. So what I'm doing here is I'm saving a search where it says that if the I want to see all the searches for this customer with the order status of completed. So I can do is I can click on save and I can give it a name. So I'm saying as open or not open, sorry, completed sales order for Hofstein. Yeah, and click on save and search. So it gives you an option of asking you, do you want to save this as the default search? So what happens if you save it as a default search? So when you save something as a default search, what it does is that as soon as you open a form on which you have saved the search, it automatically gives you that search. So let's make it a default search for now. Let's say yes. I want to make it a default search. So that's what it's doing. So as you can see, it's showing me a Hofstein Raphael with the order status complete. So if I go back out and if I go back into my sales order form, you can see it's automatically running that search result for me because I've saved that as a default. If I hadn't saved that as a default, it would have just come up with an empty sales order form instead of having the search results for that. So the reason why you would want to use it as a default is sometimes, like I said, if maybe you're in the sales and the first thing, that you do is as soon as you log into the system, you have a look at all the sales order that are open or completed. So maybe you can, have a search saved as to show you all the order status with complete or open. So the first thing that you can do is just open it and it automatically shows you that. And then obviously you can switch back to your sales order form. So as you can see here, it's showing me the saved search that we have, which is complete sales order for HO. So if you want, I can remove it from a default. Let's remove it from default. So let's see what happens once I removed it from the default. So if I go back in the sales order form, so it's going to open up as a blank for me now. So what if I want to run that search? I'm going to go back in here. I'm going to click on this and it runs that search for me. So as you can see, this is also a very useful feature for some people. For some people, it might not be, but for some who find it very useful, trust me, it's going to come in very, very handy for you. Okay, so that's it for the search, how you can search for different stuff in Priority. The other thing of, bit of basic thing that I wanted to show you guys is how you can also drill down into fields. So let's say I'm on the customer number name here field. And so, like I said, you can click on this arrow and it gives you a drop down of it. You can get different customer names in here. But let's say, you are creating a sales order or you're doing something but you also want to have a look at this customer. There's something you want to see, you want to see maybe who's the contact for this customer. Naturally, if you want to have a look at information for this customer, what you do is, you find the customer form, you go into the customer form, you search for this customer, and then you see who the contact is for that customer. But the best thing in Priority is you can directly jump to the customer form for Hofstein Raphael. So if you see this button right here, this is how you can zoom into this field. So either you can press onto this button, or as you can see, you can click on F6 as well. So if I click on F6, it's going to take me into that form. Or if I just click on in here, so I'm going to switch to, I'm going to change my view. So as you can see, it's taken me to the customer's form. and not just to the customer's form, but it's showing me the information for that customer itself. So, it saves you a lot of time. So I can directly come in here, have a look at who the contact for that customer is. And like I said, there is a bread trail, so I can directly go back to sales order by either clicking on it or just clicking on escape, and directly takes me back to it. So that's a useful way, of how you can use the drop down, or how you can use the our zoom in feature to zoom into different forms directly without, having to go about and opening them. It saves you time. You can literally zoom in into any form. From here, you can zoom into the customer's form. Let me see if there's any. So let's say if I'm on here and if I want to have a look at this part, so I can zoom into the part form here directly from here. See, it's taken me to the part catalog for that form. If I need to have a look at any information for that part, I can do that as well. You can see I still have a bread trail here to go back to. I can come back in here and everything is there. Nothing has been removed. It's saved me time, speak. Okay, so um, the other thing that you might be wondering is there are so many fields, How am I supposed to remember what every field or column is supposed to be, I can easily forget, maybe what to enter into this field, I can easily forget what to enter into this field, how do I do that, Don't worry, we know, that's something that can happen very easily. So the best way to do that is we have something what we call as a F1 help button. So if at any time, you don't remember what to add into that field, or what that field does, you just simply click on F1. So as soon as you click on F1 for it, it gives you a small detail or a small help text to help you figure out exactly what that field is for. So let's say if I do it F1 here, it show me the number of the price code on which the order is based. So it's giving me more information here, what I can do. If I click on customer number, maybe I don't know what to enter in here, the number of the customer who placed the order. So you can, use the F1 help text on any field. Sometimes gives you the exact thing that you're looking for, sometimes maybe not, but most of the time it does help you a lot if you don't know exactly what it does. So it's it can come in quite handy. So just make sure to be aware of the F1 help button. F11 for search mode, F1 for help. These are the two shortcut keys that I think I've mentioned right now. And F6 to zoom into any field, or you can just simply click on in here and it can zoom in into that field for you as well. Similarly, so let's say I'm gonna change my view, and let's say maybe we were searching for something in here. So I'm on F11 and maybe I have a list of all the sales order right here. So the other great thing in Priority, what you can do is you can also export your data to Excel directly from here. Maybe I want an Excel sheet of all the sales orders. So if you see right here, it's something called as export to spreadsheet. So I click on this, just a second, right there. So as you can see, it automatically creates a spreadsheet for me. If I click on this, perfect. So you can see it's stored all that information into spreadsheet for me. So I can see all my customer name, literally every field is here. Every field, it's directly imported that for me. So this can also come in very handy, if you need to maybe have a report or anything. So you can use that as well. So literally whatever you have at the moment in your screen, it's going to import that onto a spreadsheet when you click on here. So if I had something for a particular search result and then I clicked on export, it would just export whatever there is on the screen right now at that moment. Okay, so let me see if I'm missing out on anything. I've forgotten about the presentation here. So we've covered the priority search bar, we have covered search entity, we have covered this as well. I've shown you how to navigate around the menu. You know how you can copy a path for any stuff that you're searching for. You know about active screens and form navigation as well. You know about the help button as well. I've shown you how you can change your passwords. You guys now know how you can select a company at the top right. You guys know about different types in a form, the upper level, lower level, tabs, mandatory fields, columns, different stuff. You already know about this. Yes. So let me show you a bit about these, the form shortcuts and stuff. So let me come back up in here again. Let me change my view. Okay, so in priority, let's say I'm on this order in here. So let's say I'm on this and I want to delete this line now. So, it can be very painful to just go on to individual fields and delete every stuff in it. So either way, what you can do is directly click on delete here and click on yes. So it deletes that line for you. Or what you can do alternatively, you can use control plus delete. So I click on control and delete, it's going to delete that line for me automatically. It's the same thing as using this button as delete or control delete. That's the shortcut key for it. Similarly, if I'm typing something in here, maybe I just want to undo something. So you can also use the undo button right here or control Z, which is the standard for undo. So you can do that as well. And like I said, same, if you want to get to the next line, if you want to create a new line, you can, like I said, just either directly go back to it or you can just do control enter. It takes you to the new line. These are all basic shortcuts. I think most of you guys would know about them. You can get into a new line from here as well. See, if I click on control enter now, it automatically creates a new line for me. So I can create a new sales order. If I scroll back up, it's gonna go back to that for me. If I scroll down, so obviously that has now disappeared because there wasn't nothing in there. Okay, so am I missing out on anything in between? You guys know how you can toggle between different modes. You guys know how you can undo. You guys know how to get into a new line. You guys know how to get into query mode F11. You guys know how to delete records. You guys know how to send it to a spreadsheet. Add to favorites. I've shown you guys that as well. Let me show you about the track the document feature now. Okay, so let's say I am on this sales order, which is for this customer right here. Okay, and I want to save the sales order, not save the sales order, but I want to track the sales order. I want to make sure that if any changes are made to the sales order, I am aware of it. I get a notification saying, this sales order, has been done this. So how do you do that? So there's a very effective way of doing that here. What you can do that is, okay, yeah. So this is called as something track document changes. So I click on in here. So it's going to do is it's going to track this document now. So you can see if I click on this bell icon here, so it's showing me that sales order right here, which you can see is the same one. So if I click on in here, not only that, what I can do from here is I can add people to this here. So we can chat here. So maybe if there are any users in here, so as you can see, there is Jonathan in here. So maybe I can add Jonathan to this chat now. And if I send any message in here, maybe just a hi or click on reply. So Jonathan will be able to see my message right here, which is saying a hi, or you can communicate anything related to that sales order now from in here. Once you're done, you can just remove it from tracking by clicking it here and just removes that for you. Okay, so I think we have covered everything in here. And yeah, uh, let me see if I have anything left to show you guys. Let me go back to so I think what I forgot to show you the last thing was how to organize forms. How you can change the layout of the forms. Maybe so if I'm in here, as you can see, maybe there is a column that probably you don't need. So let's say you don't need sales rep order, or probably you don't need the project number column, which is because that is not relevant to you. And but it's there. So how do you do that? So what you can do is you can go on to settings, you can go on to organize form, or you can just click on control plus B. So I click on organize form. You can see it gives me a list of all the fields or columns that are there in the form, and I can make changes to it now. So let's see. So the project number, right? So if I click on the project number in here, so it gives me option to either move it to the top, move up, move it down, or directly move it to the bottom. So let's say maybe I just want to move it beside status. So I moved it now to beside status. Now I'm going to click on save. So as you can see, it's been moved to now here. Similarly, let's say, you have made a lot of changes in there and now you're stuck, but you want to go back to to how it was to begin with. Just click on restore defaults, click on yes, and it's back to how it was. Oh, it hasn't changed it yet. So let me see why it hasn't. So organize form, close entry, enter the, okay, sorry. So it's told us to close all the forms. If you go back into the form, yes, so it's back to where it was earlier. Instead of being here, it's now back to being here. So this is how, you can change different columns in there, how you can have it. Like I said, the best part of the priority is you can literally have it as per how you want to use it. It can be customized according to you. It's made to be as convenient for you as much as possible. So rather than for you guys, to have mold your way around to the system molds around you. So does anybody have any questions or anything? Yeah, because I think I've covered most of the stuff for today. Because like I said, this was just going to be to show you how to basically navigate around the system. And if I am going to send this presentation to Jonathan as well, so for you guys to have refer to it later on as well. So
Yeah,
Jonathan, do you have?
no,
Is that
no,
okay?
thanks. I think the next step, we got user training, haven't we? Me and Steve got user training, so I presume that we'll be setting
Yes,
these guys
exactly.
up as users, and then they can get their hands
Exactly.
dirty and start implementing this.
Yes. Yes, exactly. So, like Jonathan just said, so tomorrow we have the user training with him. And the reason that we have left it out right now, because I'm going to show you tomorrow, during the training, how you can set up users. We are going to actually set up some users during the training for your staff. And then obviously once we are done, then you guys should probably have your users within a day, or usernames and ID passwords for user within a day and two, for you guys to play around within the system. And like I said, guys, please remember to just play around in international demo. You know, international demo is for you guys to play around. You can do whatever you want within that. Go bonkers within that system. Just don't touch other companies for now. Stick to international demo.
The one thing that I don't know if we covered
Yes.
was, and we may have done, so apologies if we have, but if you're
That's
in a
okay.
form, then
Yes.
at the bottom right-hand side on your browser, there's an active
Oh
active
yeah,
screen.
yeah, yeah, I'll show you that. So that's an optional other thing. That's okay. Let me show you again. Okay, so sorry for that. I forgot about that. So once you're in a form, so if you see at the bottom right here, you can see a few options in here as well. So the button that you see for active screens here is exactly the same as the one at the top. So you can either use this to access your active screens, or alternatively, if you want, you can use this as well. The other great thing about this is you can have it pinned as well. So if I click on pin here, okay, so it hasn't. So if I click on the pin here, now it's going to be no matter wherever I move. So if I'm back in here as well, oh, okay, so it's not going to pin for me for some reason. Oh, so it only pins for you when you are in a form. So if you pin it, it will always be open for you no matter where you are jumping in between. So you can see it's going to open up for you. You can directly close all here from, or you can unpin it as well. So if I'm in a form, I can unpin and it goes down. So it's exactly the same as the one active screen on the top. So like I said, whichever is more convenient to you, you can use either. Is that
Yeah.
anything else with that, Jonathan?
No, that's brilliant. Thanks. I just think that it just shows everyone what
Yeah,
a good
sorry, I
system it
forgot
is.
about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, I'd just like to say to everyone that yeah, we give some one-on-one training perhaps next week. If anyone shouts, we'll make all the resources available. But I hope everyone can see that it's basically so customizable that Mike's layout's going to be different to Martin's, going to be different
Yes.
to Barbara's, going to be different to Gary. So everyone's screen is just going to be completely tailored and customized to what they need.
Exactly. Like I said, the system molds the way around how you work rather than having you to work around the system. That's one of the best things about Priority, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much. If nobody has any other questions.
Yeah. I'm just going to assume that I was great at this session since you guys don't have any questions.
Yeah, no, thank you. Very well. Thanks. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no worries. And thank you so much, guys, for a nice session. And I hope I get such audiences, where they don't have any questions towards the end.
You covered it all brilliantly. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. And
Cheers.
Okay,
cheers. Thank you.
Okay.
See you,
Bye.
Jonathan, tomorrow.
Yeah,
Bye.
see you tomorrow. Bye.
See you. Bye.